This is something that happened to me a few years ago, and I still consider myself lucky that it ended up as nothing more than a story. A very creepy one for me, anyway. A while back I dated a guy who lived in a neighboring town. Usually he stayed at my apartment, and I only went to his place in passing. We were only there briefly if he had forgotten something or if I was dropping him off. His town was fairly rural, while I lived in the city and had a lot more to do. One night we decided to stop by his apartment after dinner with some of his neighbors, who we got along with really well. I couldn't stay because I had a commitment the next day, which got complicated when it started raining. He told me to wait until the rain passed, so I had no choice but to accept. We put on a movie, but every now and then I went to the living room window to see how the rain was doing. It wasn't until the second time I looked out that I noticed a man outside, wearing a white t-shirt and white shorts, I think. He was standing in front of the building, looking as if he were staring directly at my boyfriend's apartment. At first I assumed he was a neighbor, so I didn't pay much attention. I didn't want to alarm my boyfriend. I kept peeking out the window as I waited for the rain to stop. Even though it rained for a couple of hours, the man stayed standing exactly where I first saw him. He couldn't have seen me watching from inside, but the direction of his gaze made it clear he was looking straight at my boyfriend's place. Another hour passed before the rain finally eased. I looked out one last time and he was gone, so I decided not to tell my boyfriend and to head home as soon as possible. I honestly don't know why I didn't think it was stranger at the time, or why I didn't give it the importance it deserved. I guess I was just in a hurry to get home. He insisted on walking me to the car and staying with me, but I knew that if he did I'd stay up and not be in good shape for my commitment the next day. He'd already done a lot for me that day and I didn't want to be a burden. I said goodbye, grabbed my things, and started to drive. When I hit the road back toward my city I felt a chill at how alone the highway was. I saw a car every 5 to 7 minutes or so, otherwise it was empty and completely dark. I turned on the radio to calm my nerves, and soon I saw someone at the side of the road hitchhiking. As I got closer I tried to make out the person's figure to see if I could help. It was the same man who had been staring at my boyfriend's apartment all night. When I drove past him our eyes met and I finally saw his face. He had very little hair and a creepy smile, one of those smiles that, no matter how harmless the person might be, you can't help feeling afraid of. His eyes bulged, like they could pop out at any moment. He didn't stop staring at me. As I drove on, accelerating, he simply waved goodbye and kept watching me in my rearview mirror until he disappeared into the distance and the dark. I sped back into the city and went straight to a friend's house, asked to stay the night, and she agreed. I told her everything. I wish I could say the horrible incident ended with that strange feeling or that single encounter. But it didn't. The next day, just before I told my boyfriend about it over the phone, he said, "You won't believe this, but last night when I went back to my building, I ran into our neighbor Fernando. He told me a patient escaped from the psychiatric hospital a few blocks from here. You remember the one I told you about? They're looking for him everywhere." My blood ran cold. I stopped hearing everything else he was saying as I replayed the previous night in my head. He told me they'd been circulating a photo among neighbors to identify the man and share any information. I asked him to send it to me right away. When I saw it I froze. It was him. I don't mean to stigmatize people who receive mental health care. I fully support anyone taking care of their mental health. But I couldn't shake the fear of what a man in that condition might have been capable of, given the place and the way I found him. And the one thing that wouldn't let me be calm was that he had been watching us all night from the street.